You are probably like most parents that we see. You've been to countless speech therapy appointments. You've practiced sounds at home. You've tried every tip and technique, and you've spent hours and hours, maybe even years, doing the same thing that every professional has told you to do. And maybe you've even gone through tongue tie or lip tie revisions, hoping that finally you would find the help that you've been searching for. But your child is still struggling to communicate, still plateauing, still frustrated. You watch other kids their age just talking and laughing and expressing themselves. But while your little one just stays quiet and just they're difficult to understand. And as a parent, you can't help but ask, what are we missing? So here's the thing that almost no one is talking about. Nearly 1 in 12 kiddos in the US between the ages of 3 and 17 have experienced some type of voice, speech, or language disorder. And most of them are going to be receiving the same traditional approach, one that's going to focus almost entirely on the output, the mouth, the muscles, the sounds, while completely overlooking what's happening on the inside, the input and coordination, which is the brain and nervous system. So the real issue isn't that your child needs more speech drills or more practice. Maybe the real issue is that there may be stress and interference within their nervous system that's disrupting that very foundation of how speech develops and functions. Speech delays and communication challenges are often input and processing problems far more than their output problems. That's why traditional speech therapy and other classic interventions sometimes aren't enough to create the breakthrough and progress that most parents are hoping for. Here at GPC, we're going to take a different approach. It's one that's going to focus on the root cause. We're going to dive deep into a three-step neurological process, which is first and foremost, what is happening with the input? How does the brain receive those sensory and auditory signals? Then we're going to look at the integration. How does the brain coordinate and create those output signals? And then, third, the output. How do those coordinated messages turn into movement and speech? Most therapies are going to be focusing on step three, the output. But when there's interference in step one or two, no amount of drills or practice are going to fully fix the root problem. So, let me tell you a story about Abby. Before coming into GPC, Abby had significant speech delays. She struggled to initiate sounds. She wasn't able to stay focused in conversations, and she was not able to produce her own words. Her parents had tried everything. They've tried multiple therapies. They were doing endless exercises at home, but still they weren't seeing the progress, and it was extremely painful for them to see their kiddo go through these challenges. When they came to us, our neurological insight scans were able to show them exactly what they suspected. Abby's nervous system was overloaded and disconnected, and it was making it difficult for her brain to properly coordinate the signals that's needed for speech. Her parents finally had answers and hope for them and their daughter, Abby. After just a couple months of neurologically focused care here at GPC, everything started to change. Her mom told us that it was like a light switch that had flipped. She started producing way more sounds and she began talking on her own without prompting. Today, Abby has made nearly 3 years of progress in just 3 months, and she's actually finishing speech services, having met all of her goals in record time. So, how does chiropractic care make such a big difference in kiddos? It comes down to how the brain and the body communicate. Subluxations or stress with misalignments within the spine and the nervous system can interfere with the way the messages travel between the brain and body. When this interference affects the brainstem or the vagus nerve, it can actually disrupt things like breathing, swallowing, vocalization, and even emotional regulation. All of those are key components of speech and coordination. Many times, this stress starts early on, potentially birth trauma, C sections, forceps, or other interventions that impact the upper cervical area and the brainstem. By identifying and correcting those areas of interference, neurologically focused chiropractic care helps restore that communication within the nervous system. It restores the brain and body so that they can finally start working together. That's why here at GPC, we're going to start by identifying what we call the perfect storm triggers. those early life stressors that are going to set the stage for developmental challenges. Then we're going to use insight scans to specifically measure exactly where in the nervous system that there is stress and where the kiddo is struggling. That's something that no traditional exam can detect. Because here's the truth, speech delays aren't just about the mouth and tongue, they're about the brain's ability to receive, to process, and then express. When we restore that neurological connection, kids can finally find their voice again. They start to gain confidence, and it makes that kind of progress that you've been praying for as a parent. If everything that we've talked about sounds familiar and you're ready to explore the root cause behind your child's speech delays, we'd love to connect with you here at GPC. Click the link in our bio or simply comment or send us a DM so that you can learn more about our neurological insight scans and how we can help your child reach your greatest potential. Because every child deserves to be heard, and we're going to help them find their voice.